Well, aloha kakahiaka, everybody. Welcome to the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Today is October 1st, and it's about 5 minutes to 9 o'clock. And if it's not 5 minutes to 9 o'clock on October 1st right now for you, that means you're watching the pre-recorded version. So you'd kind of want to maybe scroll forward about 5 minutes or so to get to the real show, or you can join me and my friends. I'm here. My name is Peter Kay, and I'm here with my friends Dylan Nonaka, who is from the Big Island. Say hi, Dylan.
What's happening, everybody?
What's happening, everybody? And we got Heidi Dollinger, who hails us from Maui. How's it going, Heidi?
Oh, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous day on Maui. If I wasn't here on the show, I would be out on the water on a paddleboard right now.
Well, that's what you're going to do right after the show, Heidi. You're going to jump on that paddleboard, get in the water, and get wet. It's a gorgeous day, and so enjoy that. And I'm with my other friend, Scott Startzman from Oahu. How's it going, Scotty?
It's good. I missed you guys. It's been a while.
It's been a while, man. We had to miss the last show. I was at an undisclosed location at a big fat Greek wedding in Chicago, and could not make it. The Greeks just don't allow it. It's a big. You would get the Greek curse if you did a video show from the church. So we couldn't do it. And the last time the Greeks cursed it, the Cubs didn't win the World Series for decades. So that was the last result of the Greek curse. So you don't want to mess with that. We got Chris has joined us. Chris, how you say that? Longley, Christopher. Welcome, Christopher. Aloha Friday to you. And who else has been joining us? We got Jan. Aloha from Portland, watching you while eating our lunch on TV trays because we gave away our dining room set in preparation for our move. Hooray! Awesome, man. Nothing quite like having dinner on trays because you are coming to Hawaii. That is the bomb. All right, let's kind of go around over here, do a little bit of a mic check. Let's go kind of counterclockwise. Scott, how's the view over there? It's a beautiful day today. What's going on Oahu today?
Yeah, no, it is a beautiful day. Since we last convened, I got a new coffee mug. In case you can't see it here, I snagged this. It says "Daddy's Chillin' and Grillin'." It's like this mega big coffee cup. World's famous barbecue. I have no idea where it came from, but looks like a cool cup. So added that to the repertoire.
I was gonna say, well, Scott, the question is it enough coffee? Because you're like a 2 or 3 coffee guy. So is that enough of a coffee supply to help you get through your day?
2 cups of these might get me in trouble.
Yeah. All right. Hey, and speaking of coffee, Heidi, what's the coffee report from Maui today?
Well, coffee shops are always so popular on Maui, and there's of course no seating inside, so everybody's lined up outside. And I went to my favorite coffee shop, Badass, this morning. Of course, I'm only about a 1 coffee a day person, but it is so good.
I think Scott is now going to be a 1 coffee a day person, except it's that one gigantic monstrous cup of coffee, but it's still one cup. Hey, let's catch up over before we talk a little bit. We have a few more folks who are saying hello to us, which is great. The early risers, Natasha. Welcome, Natasha. Natasha is a member of the Islander Ohana and part of the current cohort. Talking to Scott as well. Beautiful day in the San Francisco Bay Area. San Francisco is a beautiful place. I've always loved San Francisco. And Auntie Joyce is back with us. Welcome back, Auntie Joyce. Aloha from the left coast. Want to come home? Well, Auntie Joyce, you're at the left coast, but I would argue that Hawaii is about as left as the left coast is as well. But that's beside the point. Well, we miss you and come back home soon. And Gil is with us. Got my spam musu bee and poke ready. Happy Friday. No better way. I don't think there's a better way to have a Friday than having a couple of good beers with the boys and some poke from one of the fish places. Absolutely. Patrick, welcome back, Patrick. Aloha from the mainland's East Coast in Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome, Patrick. Good to see you again. Scott, man, you know what I love about this show is it's become like this whole family kind of get together. I really, really enjoy that part. And I really appreciate you all being here. It makes it a lot of fun for all of us, I'm sure. Pam, aloha from Denver. Pam, welcome. I don't recall your name from before. I think you may be a first-time listener, but welcome regardless either way. Welcome, Pam from Denver. And Christopher, I pronounced it correct. All right, I'm impressed. So many people butcher my last name. Well, it's because I'm Greek, and I'm used to having my name butchered too, Christopher. So I try to kind of do the best I can to have it. And And a welcome Aloha Friday from Juliana Debat. Is that Debat? I hope I didn't butcher that name. So anyway, all right, we caught up with everybody. Said hello. Dylan, give us the Aloha shirt report. Give us what's going on the Big On before we start the real show here.
Well, just representing the local designer here in Kona, Chrissy Henriques. This is Living Hula. Nice colorful one that I got, I think, for my birthday this year. So probably the first time I'm wearing it, because we don't do Aloha shirts too often. There's no events or anything. So this is like my main time to wear Aloha shirts. Always look forward to it. So broke it out, brand new one. And, you know, big news on the Big Island is the volcano's going again. So the VOG hasn't returned, but it is active again. So
yes, look, I want some more details about that, because I put that in the news for today. I caught that just yesterday, that it's re-erupting. But you know what, Dylan, I got to tell you, I think that yellow, I'm not a designer. All right, I'm not a designer. Don't ever mistake me for any kind of a design. But you're looking good. I like the yellow. The yellow works with you, man. I think the yellow is your color. I think it is. Like blue's supposed to be mine. Bluish kind of aqua is supposed to be mine. I don't think there's any color I'm going to look particularly good in. But I guess everything's relative, right? But anyway, the yellow looks good on you, man. The yellow looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, we got some more people kind of jumping in, so we're going to say hi to everybody before we get started here. Will Schur, welcome from Festus, Missouri. Welcome, Will. We're glad here you're with us. And Auntie Joyce replied to my other comment. Yeah, but in Hawaii, wouldn't have been stuck in the GGB for 90 minutes, caught in protest. I know what the GGB is.
Golden Gate Bridge.
Of course. Golden Gate Bridge for 90 minutes, caught in protest. Well, good luck, Auntie Joyce. Enjoy the view from the Golden Gate Bridge while you're stuck there for 90 minutes. Make the most of it. And Patrick is with us from Winters, California. Excellent. Welcome back. And Val, I remember Val. Aloha all. Welcome back, Val. Good to see you again. And Sherman from Tennessee. This is great, man. It was just kind of coming on in over here. Pam, yeah, thanks. I know I have seen several shows. Great. Thanks. Love the info. Have a daughter in Honolulu. Hope to visit in December. I love coming. I got to believe that Hawaii has got best in November if you're from one of the cold states like Chicago, for example. Right, Heidi, February is the month. If you're going to be visiting Hawaii from the mainland, you want to leave in February. And who else we got up here? I'm going to butcher that name. So aloha from Italy. Efrat, welcome. Aloha. And let's see, Tom, give us the thing. If your name from French, Langlais, meaning the English one. Wow, now we're getting a whole cultural exchange here. Thank you, Tom, because Tom's from the UK, if I'm not mistaken, right, Tom? All right, excellent. All right, this is great. Everyone's here. I think I queued up I got all the comments. One more here. Final one before we're going to get started here. Heather, visiting the Big On for Christmas, living in Oregon. Yeah, Christmas is always kind of interesting in Hawaii. We kind of carry the Christmas spirit, but there's just something about not having snow and Christmas trees and all that kind of good stuff. All right, one more. We got Jess is back with us. Jess Santos, welcome back, Jess. Aloha from Seattle. So many things going on in Hawaii. Had to cancel our trip for November, keeping our hopes for March and May. Jess, Hawaii will be here when you're here, so do not worry about it. So, and Tom, yeah, from the UK, but grew up in France. So Tom can pronounce the name better, I'm sure, than I could. So all good. Excellent. All right. Let's get this party started over here and warm up with a little bit of news. Here's the stuff that I was able to kind of find out that I thought was kind of interesting, that I thought you all might want to know about it. To Dylan's point, and we're going to let Dylan kind of give us all details, but the Kilauea is once again erupting. The world's most active volcano was dormant for a little bit, but Kilauea is back. So Dylan, I think we may have to have another show there with our favorite auntie and uncle who live on the Big on the volcano side, if this thing kind of gets anywhere. Maui, that looks like, folks, the COVID curve looks like we're over the hump. If you look at the right-hand side over there, I've got that one curve. Those are COVID cases, and you can see very clearly that the COVID cases are thankfully coming back down. So that's a good thing. And Maui is kind of saying, Mayor Michael Victorino is kind of saying, they kind of want to relax the restrictions. So he has put in a request to the governor to see if they could relax the restrictions a little bit in Hawaii, these safer outside rules, just the general kind of relaxing, larger crowds and things of that nature. So I think that's a good news. And I'm going to want to hear from Scott about this one, the Oahu short-term rentals. That's what STR stands for, short-term rentals. Short-term rentals looks like there's some bills advancing to restrict short-term rental. I think where it's at now, the big headline was that they're looking at restricting short-term rentals to anywhere on Oahu except resort areas. So, for example, like Waikiki, Ko'olina, which is on the west part of Oahu, or the Kuilima, which is on the north shore of Oahu. So there's designated resort areas. Seems like they're going to be clamping down on everything else. I want to hear about that from Scott, some more details. Scott, I know, Scott, you've been following that. And finally, folks, I've got some bad news. You can no longer be swimming with dolphins. Those days look like they're over. There used to be a bunch of things on the. Let me go to full screen over here. There used to be a bunch of things on the Big Island, and Oahu used to be able to go on dolphin tours and swim with dolphins. That looks like it's coming to an end. There's some federal laws that are clamping down and going to make it illegal to clamp with dolphins. Finally, look at the weather. As usual, Hawaii's weather is perfect. Look at those temperatures, not varying by a degree, practically a degree, no more than 2 degrees, no more than 1 degree actually on variance. All right, that's the news for today. Let's kind of go around clockwise over here and get a local news update. We got a lot of stuff to talk about on the real estate side, but a little bit on the local news. Dylan, what's up? Give us the news. Big on it. Anything in we talked about the volcano. What you got for us?
Yeah, I almost didn't notice. Like I've said before in the past, those of us who live here, the volcano goes off, and it has been for 30 years. We had a break here from 2018 to 2020. There was a little eruption in 2020, and then it stopped again. So it's been like another year of the volcano being off. But yeah, interesting enough, it started back up. The VOG really isn't back yet. It's probably going to take a while. But the interesting thing about this eruption is they measure, they estimate the amount of lava that's coming out of the ground, and they're saying that this eruption is similar to 2018, and not similar to the previous eruption prior to that, and this is like an interesting number, right? Is that in normally between 3 and 5 cubic meters of lava per second was coming out of the ground. That was kind of like that long eruption from 83 to 2018. And then in the big eruption of 2018, it was between 100 and 200 cubic meters per second. So, I mean, a huge additional amount of volume coming out of the ground. And so that's based on their measurements, what the flow has started with so far. But it is contained to the crater at the moment. It's basically filling the crater up with lava. So we'll see what happens. But, just another day with an active volcano on your island.
Just another day with an active volcano on your island. It seems like the latest trend since, like you said, 2018. It's like it's not quite as active as it was, kind of in the glory days. And Heather is agreeing with you, Dylan. Who needs a Christmas tree for the holidays when you have an active volcano?
Absolutely.
There you go. Hey, they're great. Hey.
My buddy just landed actually he landed the day that it erupted, and he's staying up there. He's got a little cabin that he vacation rents up there. It's won some architectural design awards. Pretty neat place. But he said the line to get into the Volcanoes National Park was like 2-3 hours, and he ended up, because he's on West Coast time, he woke up at like 3:30 in the morning, went out there at 4, got some really great photos. He says amazing looking. He was sending me some. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's something about there's that. I don't know. There's something about that red volcano, that glow, that lava flow glow is just an amazing one. Thanks, Natasha. Natasha has posted something on in the chat, in the Facebook chat, with some info on the eruption. Really appreciate that, and we also want to go check that one out. That's excellent. Thank you, Natasha. Really appreciate that contribution. Heidi, give us the Maui news. What's kind of happening? What do you see kind of going on in Maui that's not real estate related?
Well, there's no active volcanoes on Maui, so if you're worried about volcanoes, come to Maui. I guess just finished September. September historically is a little bit slower month in terms of visitors. We still had a pretty good September in terms of number of visitors on Maui, but it's really one of my favorite times of year. Because the ocean's nice, the beaches are nice, it's warm, it's kind of end of summer here. Kind of an interesting result of everything that's happened the past year and a half is employers here on Maui are really having a hard time finding workers for jobs. Restaurants, hotels, visitor industry, they can't find enough employees. So if you're looking for a job like that, there are openings if you're willing to work here. Everybody I talk to who's a business owner is just looking for workers and they can't find them.
Yeah, it is a problem, and a lot of companies, I mean, are shutting down. I went to a funny story. We were in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and I went to a Yidos stand because, of course, when you're in Chicago, you have to go and buy. There's a food. I have a food. I don't do like a sightseeing trip when I go to Chicago, which is where I was born. I go on a food trip. So on this day was my Yidos day. And I'm just ordering a Yido sandwich, and the lady at the counter just starts going all political with me, saying, "Yeah, we can't hire workers. I don't know what's going on with the stimulus. People aren't coming in. We're gonna have to shut down the shop." And I'm like, "Okay, can I get fries with that?" But anyway, it was quite interesting. So hey, Heidi, do you know about this place? Java Jazz Maui. It's Natasha's favorite place. Natasha, maybe you ought to kind of have a badass coffee with Heidi one of these Fridays.
Oh, I do know Java Jazz. That's a great place. Yeah, I've been there. They have breakfast and it's a restaurant too, but very eclectic and artistic. It's a cool place.
Excellent. Yeah, eclecticism used to be like a mainstay of coffees until Starbucks ruined it all with well-designed hot coffee. Hey, Scott, what's going on? What do you see? What's the news on Oahu?
Well, should we talk about the short-term vacation?
Yeah, hit it a little bit. Go ahead.
The only volcano that's going to happen over here on Oahu is probably my head exploding from this one. This one, I sent you that email of this when it first came out, right? And it kind of summarized things. And I said, this is ridiculous. And then when they had the discussion down there, I did my testimony and stuff. And then they came back with some recommended revisions. And the whole concept of it for DPP, they said, hey, what was passed a few years ago is hard to enforce. It's actually not. It's very easy to enforce because they're forcing everyone, even if you're on Airbnb, VRBO, wherever you post it, they're requiring those sites to have your TMK, your parcel number, your license to be able to do that right there. So if you don't have it, you're going to get busted really easy. And so they came back and more or less what they're wanting to do is modify that. And this whole bill was very controversial to begin with. Now they've come back and said, hey, more or less, if you're not in resort zoning, we want all rentals to be 180 days minimum, where in residential and apartment zoning, some of the others you could do, it was 30 days minimum. Short-term vacation rentals were classified less than 30 days. So if you're down in the resort area, you can do 1, 2, 3, 5 nights. Residential had to be 30 days or more. They're trying to move it to 180 days. It didn't make sense because it's like, okay, well, what about people transitioning over here? Military transitioning over here. They need short-term housing before they're buying. Someone's selling their home. They need a rental for a few months before they buy. What about, government contractors that are here for 3-4 months? What happens to those people? You cause this real problem. So they had the discussion about it and they came back with it and they basically said, okay, here's the exceptions. Full-time students, full-time remote workers, military in transit, homeowners in transit, low-income renters that are on a shorter lease or whatnot. And I thought about it. I'm like, you talk about difficult to enforce. And here's the kicker. Prior to that approval, you're going to have to get approval from the Department of Planning and Permitting for this. So just do the basic math. 20 to 25% of this island's population is military or government related. They're transitioning people all the time. Full-time students, people moving over here who need temporary housing. We're talking people in the thousands. They can't even get permits through DPP in under a year for new construction and things. How are you going to handle this and get pre-approval for that? This is the epitome of stupid government at this point. It drives me absolutely nuts. And it has the hotel lobbyists written all over it.
Well, I hear you. By the way, DPP, everyone stands for Department of Planning and Permitting. These are the people that approve any kind of plans, etc. So you know what that means. Yeah, well, it's going to be a mess, dude. I'm with you 100%. I'm well aware of DPP's historically has been a horrific enforcement mechanism. When it was easy, they couldn't enforce anything. And
if this gets passed, it's going to be a train. It's going to be a train wreck. There's no way they're going to be able to do this. So that's my rant for this morning. It irritates me because it stinks to the hotel industry at that point, and there's no common sense to it. They've actually made this a more difficult thing to enforce rather than easier.
Yeah, unfortunately. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to transition back to some loveliness because Heather told us that she just swam with dolphins in May. So we're going to do a task switch. So we just talked about the evils of the DPP and stupid government, which we're all unfortunately terribly familiar with. But Heather Lovell just swam with dolphins in May. Good thing you did there, Heather. So glad we did it, but now totally understand why they're shutting it down. It was a bit of a mess with so many people. Yes, so indeed. Ray is with us. Ray Dix, welcome, Ray. Ray is a member of the Islander Ohana, is going through the current cohort, and he's hanging in Kailua. Awesome, Ray. I'm glad you are here, Ray, with the rest of us. All right, I think we got that all covered. Let's move on to our next topic over here. Let's talk about let's do a quick a real estate update. Now today we've got a little topic over here. We're going to talk about the question of, are we in a bubble? So let's kind of hold off on that one. So I want to really quick, Dylan, Heidi, and Scott, give us a quick. Is there anything on the real estate market that's changed? Any kind of an update that's notable? And if not, we'll just kind of skip and we'll talk about the bubble topic. So Dylan, why don't you get us started? Anything new on the Big Island's market?
Yeah, what's notable is that inventory has started to increase for the first time all year. So from January all the way to July, we saw inventory falling all the way to a low of 330 homes. And for perspective, normally there's between like 1,000 and 1,300 homes on the market. And that's just homes, not all types of property. But we've saw it fall all the way down to 330 in July, and then it ticked back up in August, and it continues to tick back up in September. So we're back up above 400 right now. So some of that is due to just sellers being unreasonable on price and buyers saying, I've had enough. I'm not going to pay that much more than the house is actually worth. And so we haven't really seen like a big influx of just like, normal property. It's mainly things are sitting on the market longer and not selling. That's why we're seeing more inventory. But this interesting trend there for, after 7 months of just inventories drying up completely, they're starting to come back. But you're muted, Peter.
Thank you. Seems like economic laws of supply and demand are starting to take over, and prices are kind of hitting their thing, and markets coming back. So that's I'm going to take that as a good sign, Dylan. Heidi, what's changing? What's the update in Maui? How's Maui's market looking? And it's been almost a month since we last spoke. So what's been happening?
Well, inventory is still very low over here on Maui. The buyers just keep coming. I mean, there's strong buyer demand. There is at a certain point going to be some price resistance because prices have gone up significantly this past year in a lot of portions of the market. But I mean, we don't see any signs of slowing down in the immediate future because more sales would be taking place if there was more inventory. It's just a matter of inventory on the market. So eventually there'll be more sellers, and perhaps we'll balance out a little, but it's still very much a seller's market, and not for the timid and the weak, but you can still buy in this market and get a good value for what the market is.
Excellent. Thank you, Heidi. Thanks for that update. Scott, what's Oahu's market been like? It's been 30 days. What's kind of happening?
Yeah, we actually hit 2 records both on single family homes and condos this month. I was watching condo inventory just dry up and pending sales on condos going up. Well, and we were trending at 8% price appreciation for condos year to date. Well, this past month, we're up 16.8%, and the inventory has dropped down to the same level as single family homes. So we should expect condos to kind of follow the single family home trend. So I expect that 15 to 20% price appreciation moving forward on condos. And I wrote an offer down in Waikiki. And I had mentioned this. I had called the agent. She had like 30 calls for showings within the first 2 days. And this is a condo in Waikiki, which would have been hurt more during the pandemic time. And we ended up $100,000 over asking to get that one in escrow. Single family homes, our inventory is not increasing. And as long as the inventory is not increasing, we're going to still have the same similar price appreciation going forward. I've seen 2 articles about affordability, and that's the main thing that's driving this. Things are still more affordable now by like 35% more than any peak in the previous booms. So affordability is still driving this. People still have money. Interest rates are still really low, so it's doing well. But I even wrote an offer in Kailua the other day. Property was listed at 1.395. We came in at 1.45. We were 9th position out of 11. It went for over 1.5 million cash. So I mean, we're not seeing the slowdown, and that's what we're looking at is multiple offers, significant competition. But I'm getting success. Like I'm getting an escrow. I negotiated 2 different times with buyers for credits and price reductions on sellers. Both were about $5,000. So you can still get something, and you can find value, and you can make it through. You just have to understand the market. We'll get you there and make sure the property is what you think it is.
Excellent, thanks, Scott. And Auntie Joyce made a comment, a shout out that people need to hire reputable agents like Heidi, Scott, or Dylan, and not get bad advice. Yes, Auntie Joyce, I concur. I concur completely. Yeah, it's an interesting market, Scott. It's interesting. I have to tell you, I know that your stats are correct about affordability, but it's really hard to kind of wrap one's head around the fact that $1 million property on Oahu is considered affordable, more affordable than it's been in a while. That's just the way it is.
I look for fix-ups and ones that need major repairs, and I'm going, wow, I'm paying them. My budget is minimum $1 million because I'm not getting anything under that. Not something I want to work with, and so it's crazy. The other thing that's actually interesting, Japan is starting to ease their restrictions on COVID. They haven't eased it on the quarantine travel restriction yet, but when they do, Ala Moana, Kaka'ako, Waikiki will boom because we're going to get that push from people coming from Asia, especially Japan. That's our biggest market.
Okay, now that's something that's notable, everybody. So I want you all to kind of take in what Scott just said, because he is correct. Well, we don't know if he's correct. He's making a future prediction, so we'll know in about a year whether Scott's prediction is true. But if you look at the trustworthiness and the accuracy of the predictions that we made in the past, it's a pretty good assumption. What you're saying, Scott, I hear you saying, is that when Japan and other parts of Asia relax their COVID restrictions, as they all are, we're going to get a lot of those Asian buyers coming into Oahu, a lot of pent-up demand, which means and they like those condos, Waikiki, Kaka'ako condos, more likely than not, demand's going to go up. And when demand goes up, so does price. Is that what you're saying, Scott?
Yeah, exactly.
And not just Asia, everywhere, right? Pretty much, we've had zero international travel for
really
almost 2 years, right? And those people still want to buy something. So even with all of the demand that we've had, that's minus international demand, which is a significant amount in most of our markets.
That's an excellent point, Dylan. That is an excellent. Yes, not just Japan. Yeah, very, very.
And
true.
the international buyer, when they come, it's hard to get financing. So a lot of times they're coming with cash or 50% down. So not only are they coming, but they're coming with briefcases of money. Now you've got, not only are you adding more buyers, but now you're adding competition where it's harder to compete. So the sooner you get into the market, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, those are all really good points. I for some reason, Scott, I just had a memory flash. I imagine Russian mafia guys walking over here with briefcases full of gold bullion, and buying condo in Waikiki for my daughter. I just couldn't help myself on that image. So Scott, Natasha's got a request: keep other buyers away from Kaimuki. Natasha, the only way to keep other buyers away from Kaimuki is you got to buy, girl. That's the way to keep other buyers out, because people are, for better or for worse, people are watching this broadcast and other things. I know Scott and everyone here has got a newsletter, and these things go out in the market, and it is. We're not the only ones who know about what's going to be happening. So I recommend all of you kind of figure out what you want to do. All right. Listen, so we got this. So Dylan was kind of gave us the idea to kind of drive this topic here. Are we in a bubble? So there's a lot of people who have kind of said things like, prices are crazy. In fact, I had a question on someone who asked about, how do you avoid paying inflated prices, assuming that prices are inflated? I'm going to wait for the market. I'm going to wait for this market to crash because it's going to crash. It's in a bubble, etc. So a little bit of a topic over here I want to kind of go over, and Dylan's going to lead this, but as usual, we're going to have a conversation between the four of us on are we in a bubble. So Dylan, why don't you get us started? I've got those slides that you put together. Let me know which slide you want me to show, and why don't you get us started here?
Yeah, maybe let's do the one with the 3 graphs on it first.
All right, so that be this one here.
Yep. So this just illustrates, and again, we can go off how we feel, or we can go off what the data is and what the the economic numbers actually are. And so this is just a real simple illustration of the market today and how very different it is from 2006, right? Even though the market can feel similar to 2006 and that lead up to the crash where it was really hot and prices were rising and everybody was buying stuff, there's some fundamental factors that are very different. And the first and most important one is the amount of risk in the lending industry. So that graph on the top right there shows you a mortgage loan originations with a credit score of less than 620. So in 2006, for just comparing 06 to 2020, there was $376 billion in mortgages given to people with a credit score of less than 620. In 2020, it was 74 billion. So a fraction of the amount of money was lended to people that are risky, right? Risky loans. And so that is a big factor where a lot of those lending regulations that led to a lot of risky and shoddy lending back in the last crash is gone. I mean, Dodd-Frank changed a lot of that stuff, and it's much harder to get a mortgage today than it was 10, 12 years ago. So that's the first big one is that the risk in the market is not there. And we're seeing that, right? We're seeing that in the market with our buyers. It is really hard to get a 0 or low down payment offer accepted in this market because you're up against people with 20, 30, 40, 50% down or full cash offers. And so if you're coming in, with a 3% FHA loan or something, I mean, unfortunately, you go to the bottom of the stack. And then when people are concerned about an appraisal, they want to make sure you have some cash to cover the difference with an appraisal waiver clause. And if you have no down payment money, that's just not an option for you. So very big difference. So
let's just kind of gather and talk about this. So one of the big differences here, and again, when you're talking about a bubble, you're referring to the last bubble, the 08, the 06, 08 bubble where the market crashed. So the big thing I'm hearing you say is that we really don't have a situation where people with very, very low credit scores or very highly leveraged mortgages that are just on the edge are in the market. That's just not the case. Scott, Heidi, anything you guys want to add to that at all?
I mean, yeah, I agree. It's cash and high down payment deals that I'm seeing right now. I mean, people with a minimum down payment are really having a hard time in this market just because it's competitive. And there's not a lot of inventory, so that's just where we are.
That's even driving it harder. Scott, you had some that you're going to add.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, so if we're talking about mortgages and being able to get mortgages, if you look back at that 2005, 2007 market, it was very easy to get money and to get loans, and you didn't have to prove a whole lot. Dodd-Frank changed all that. So things were much more restrictive coming out of that. Even through 2019 through 2020, it was harder to get a loan and you had to put more money down. And then COVID hit and it got even more restricted because the lenders will go, hey, do you have a job? Are you going to have a job next week? How is your job security? And they even tighten their guidelines from there. So if you're talking bubble side, if the bubble is going to come, it's going to be, to me, from something systemic that we don't see out of left field that happens. It's not coming just because prices are going up. The interest rates dropped and that caused affordability. It's hard to get loans and there's a lot of money in the market. So a crash doesn't even make sense because people have a ton of equity in their property, not only from values going up, but having to put a lot more down just to be able to get the loan. So you sell it and you walk away with a profit. They're not going to be foreclosing.
So unlike the previous bubble where you were the market crash, you were highly leveraged. So when you lost even a few percentage points of value on your home, you were already kind of what they call underwater. You owed more than the house was worth. Today, that's no longer the case. Dylan, you had a slide about that, right? About that very topic?
We have four. Yeah, that's a separate slide. Four reasons why the end of forbearance won't lead to a flood of foreclosures. We can go over that.
I'll just pull this up real quick. It's kind of got a lot of words on it and words I'm not a big word fan. When I see words on a page, my brain starts like flipping out. But there are a couple of quick points right over here, Dylan.
Yeah. So the first big one, this is the other one that people speculate on, right? Is that forbearance is coming to an end this month, right? October, a lot of these programs are going to start coming to an end, and people are saying,
just for a minute, for people like me who don't know what that means, forbearance means what?
So when COVID started, because of so many people losing their jobs and the strain on the economy, there were programs put into place where you could forbear paying your mortgage, right? So it wasn't forgiveness, it was forbearance, and there was some confusion in the marketplace amongst consumers. But basically what they did was people have taken a break from paying their mortgage because they're unemployed or whatever their case is, but then those payments get added on to the back end of their 30 years, right? So they don't give it up, or they need to come up with a payment plan. There's different programs that are in place.
Okay.
But those are going to be coming to an end. So there's some speculation out there that when that happens, there's going to be this big flood of foreclosures in the market. And the face of the data doesn't bear that out. The first big one is there were 9.3 million foreclosures after the bubble the last time, which is a mind-boggling amount. Right now, there's less than 1.9 million people in forbearance. So even if every single one of them foreclosed, it would be, 20% of the amount of foreclosures that happened in 20, between 2008 and 2011, after the last crash. But to Scott's point, the second point on here, 87% of the people who are currently in forbearance have 10% or more equity in their property. And that's an important number, because 10%, if you have a minimum of 10%, that'll allow you to sell the house and get out of it, right? You'll pay closing costs, you'll pay maybe any penalties and fees if you're behind in your mortgage, and you'll be able to walk away. But most people have more than 10% equity. So you can put your house on the market, even if you continue to be distressed and you can't pay your mortgage, you can put it on the market, sell it, and then walk away with some cash in your pocket because of the equity that you have in the home. And then real quickly on 3 and 4 there, the market can absorb any new listings, right? I mean, right now, that's been a problem. In 2000 and in the last crash, there was 9+ months of inventory on the market. Today, there's less than 3 nationwide. In Hawaii, it's like a month. Right? On the Big Island, there's like a month of inventory. And what that means is that if no new listings come on the market, starting today, within 30 days, everything that's on the market would be sold, right? It's just a measure of kind of the market and how strong it is. And right now, because of the lack of inventory, if there's new listings, they'll get bought with the demand that's out there.
Excellent. So let's kind of have a discussion here. So let's go first to Scott and then to Heidi. What do you want to add to what Dylan's saying, or raise, or other issues that are related?
Yeah, even the local banks. So when I was talking to the guys that I chat with all the time at the local banks, and we were talking about the number of people in forbearance here on Oahu, and I said, hey, what are the actual number of those people that are in trouble? And they said it's less than 50%. A lot of people went into forbearance because they saw it as a free way to not have to pay their mortgage for a little time period or whatever. So a lot of them, once they started to realize there were some penalties and things, they're starting to get caught up or will or have. So the number that are actually in forbearance has been shrinking, and it's pretty insignificant. Like Dylan said, you bring it on the market. The offer I made in Kailua, there's 11 people bidding for that home. Okay, well, one got it. You bring even 2 homes or in that neighborhood alone on, there's 10 other people that are wanting those 2 homes. The buyers are there to absorb the market. It's not going to impact us significantly.
Excellent. Heidi, anything you want to add to this?
Well, yeah, so just because of how our market's changed, homeowners that have been behind on their mortgage, some of them are finding it's a good time to sell right now and actually come out ahead. So it's working in their favor. And yeah, it's just, I said this before, buyer demand is still strong. I think the people that are waiting around for a big crash might be disappointed and miss out altogether because we just keep going. Real estate's always been expensive. I think historically it's always been expensive. So it's just, are you willing to jump into the market and own something? And I think you have to look over, a longer term perspective as well.
Yeah, well said. Heidi, when you mentioned that real estate's always been expensive, I remember when I had first come here in the 80s, and I was catching that homes in Kailua at that time. Scott, the neighborhood that you just 1.4, 1.5, homes in Kailua. This is the mid 80s now, gang. So this is a long time ago, probably before many of you were born. But anyway, mid 80s, homes in Kailua were outrageously expensive because they were going for $150,000. Outrageously expensive homes in Kailua. So yeah, it's always relative. I'm just, I was doing some, by the way, I was doing some retirement planning, and just taking inflation, Scott, not inflation. I took your rule of thumb. You said on average, Hawaii prices appreciate about 6% a year, give or take. Map that out for 20 years. Map it out for 20 years, and the outrageously expensive. Do your calculations, folks. The outrageously expensive house that just went for 1.5 in Kailua is going to be $10 million in 20 years. $10 million.
So I've done that log linear before for people.
Okay.
And
good.
And remember, I talked about this on the show before. I had the lady in Waipahu who bought her home 50 years ago, and I couldn't find it in the tax records because online doesn't go back that far. She bought it for 20 grand. She said every penny she could to put the down payment of 20% down. It was hard. The monthly payments were less than $100 a month for that time. The first 3 years were difficult and prices were expensive for her at that time. And then we sold it for $550. 35 years, I think we're at 4.7% annual log linear appreciation, and things adjust a little bit. But if you log linear that out, when I did it out another like 20, 30 years and showed people the number, they're like, it'll never get to that point. It'll never get that high. Well, we double in sales price every 10 years. Why wouldn't we get there? We've been, that it's the data, right?
It's the data. Well, I'm really glad. I want to jump in here real quick, Dylan. I know you want to say something, but I did want to say that it has been helpful, gang, because look at what we've this discussion has been helpful to at least one person. I know it's been helpful to more. But Heather, thank you, Heather, for your comment. Heather says, yeah, I was thinking of waiting until real estate craziness settled down, but apparently it sounds like it's going to be even crazier if I wait longer. Exactly. Need more time to load my briefcase of cash. Talk to the Russians, Heather. The reason we're going to Big Island is to check it out as a potential place to buy a home, as opposed to Oahu. Just exploring now, but don't want to wait too long, I guess. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, this thing is going. So, and a quick shout out here, Lynn Walker. Welcome, Lynn. Aloha from Granite Bay, California. Happy to be joining the live show. Lynn, we're super glad, Dad, you're here. So, okay. So here's my dumb guy question right now. So I know I'm old enough to remember in 2006 and 2008, Alan Greenspan getting on and Senate testimony saying, we're not going to have a bubble. It's not going to happen. Everything is good. We are in good shape. We're all set. Don't worry about it. Not going to happen. Now, Alan Greenspan's a lot smarter than all of us, and he alluded that it's not going to happen. Now, you've all given us some great reasons, and I believe all of those reasons. I believe them all. You're all correct. You can't lie with the stats. But what's the unknown that we don't know, right? Is there and it's just purely speculative, right? There's no way of knowing, but is there a bubble lurking that we can't see? The nature of bubbles is you don't see them. That's why they're called bubbles. I don't know if you guys want to kind of, if there's any kind of, that's just a crazy comment, but go ahead, Dylan.
We survived COVID. That's what's crazy, right? I mean, shutting our economy down for a significant amount of time, I mean, still didn't slow it down. And if you go back, if we go back to the graph slide, one more couple more pieces important of data here.
Let me go back. Is this the one with the are we in? I think it's the one.
The three bar graphs.
3 bar graphs. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I got you.
No, the other one, back one.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Your slide handler. Your slide handler is rather incompetent. So bear with me. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
We won't fire you yet.
Okay. All right.
So the other one is we keep talking about supply, right? And we keep talking about supply, and is something going to change? And so that bottom left-hand graph shows you the amount of new homes that are built in America every 10 years. So this is just America, but we can drill down into Hawaii. It's even probably worse in Hawaii. But there's normally between like 9 and 12 million homes, right? And in the lead up to the last crash, there was 12.6 million, record high number of new homes put on the market. Supply, right? Increases in supply. Since 2010, in the last decade, we're at 6.5 million. So we're at like half of how many homes are normally going on the market every year per decade. And this is a big contributing factor to the lack of inventory nationwide, right? There's always new people coming into the market. The population continues to grow. Millennials are buying at record numbers. baby boomers are living longer, so they're staying in their homes longer. And with all of that going on, we're putting on half as many homes on the market than we used to, or building half as many homes as we used to the previous 50 years. So that supply isn't going to change, right? That is what it is, and that's a big fundamental factor with economics is supply and demand, right? Demand continues to increase, and supply has fundamentally been lagging behind, and we got to take that into account.
That's interesting. I know that Hawaii had a big crunch. And Hawaii was booming with housing and everything until the 70s. And then there was a whole bunch of environmental kind of legislation in the 70s, and it just crunched it down.
There's basically no new housing on the Big Island, right? I mean, unless you're buying a $5 million house, there's lots of new construction for the $5 to $20 million house, but the under $1 million house, I mean, it's non-existent. It's onesie twosies here and there, but no new large development.
I mean, I understand why there's no new development in Hawaii, but I wonder why has been the crunch across the mainland.
Well, it was because of the last crash. So builders have not recovered, right? That puts so many people out of business, and it puts such a constraint on so many large, those D.R. Hortons, those big builders, that they haven't fully recovered. And
they have, and of course, credit is a lot. What's that, Scott?
Yeah, they got gun shy for a while there.
Well, and I got to believe that the credit thing has had an effect, because credit has crunched down, so it's not as easy as it used to be to get a loan, and etc. We have a couple more,
and that's true of large building institutions too, right? I mean, they get tens of millions of dollars of loans, right? So their lending standards got affected just like the regular person did. Yeah,
they're getting crunched too. Yeah, exactly. We had a couple of comments that are coming in from everybody, which is great. Anna V, thanks so much for this. Very informative. We are looking to buy early for our retirement and possibly short-term rent in the meantime. Anna, you are with good company, girl. You want to be hanging out. There's a form on the comments. Click on that form. Get on. If you're not already on the list, get on the list. I know that Dylan and Heidi and Scott would love to talk with you to help you out. Val's throwing in some comments here. Not a real estate expert, but I minored in statistics, and it's always better to think and invest based on data than with your heart. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Val, and it's always kind of fun to see these numbers. Shout out to Alex. Alex back the man. Alex, welcome, Alex. Alex is a member of the Islander Ohana on alumni. So great to see you all. Excellent. Before we move on this topic, I think we all get the point here that it's nothing right now. It's nothing like 2008. As far as the market fundamentals, the financial fundamentals, equity in homes, people with bad loans, all that's radically different. And so one thing's for sure: if there's going to be a bubble, if there's going to be a bubble, it ain't going to be like the last one. If there's going to be a bubble, it's going to be something else. But I'm still actually go ahead, Scott.
Or it'd be something that we don't. It's going to be something that we don't see if there's a bubble. In other words, if interest rates increase, it will just slow things down. And at some point, we hit an affordability ceiling, and that will slow things down. We're not going to have a crash from those things. If there's a crash or a bubble, it's from something systemic we don't see coming out of left field.
Yeah, like a virus that leaked out of a military lab in Wuhan and kind of went around the world, and now everyone's kind of like, it's killing everybody. That something like that, right? You never know. It's the don't knows that we don't knows. Anyway,
alien invasion. Alien invasion is always on the table. So.
Alien invasion is always a possibility. All right, hey gang. So look, before we move on, this has been a great exchange over here, Dylan. Appreciate your slide. Is there anything else? First of all, Dylan, Heidi, or Scott, anything else you guys want to add to this topic? I think we pretty much wrap it up, and I think it's made the case pretty convincingly that the conditions for a bubble, at least the way they were, are not going to be back again. Okay, good. Gang, everybody else, we're going to move on. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's see. It's wow, time flies. We got about 17 minutes to go. But before we do, gang, let me kind of give me a zoom in over here. So yeah, so gang, so look, before we move on, this show here is for you. We've got a lot of you attending, and I'm so stoked. It's so much fun. I really enjoy it. If you've got questions, get them in now, because we got about 17 minutes to go on the clock. And we're going to be moving through the show. I want to make sure we get your questions in, because we got everyone else's. I got a bunch of slides and things like that we can go and talk about, but I want to make sure you get your questions in now. So if you've got them, pop them in the comments. We want to hear from you. Thank you all very much. All right, let's move on over here, and let's see here. Let's kind of move on to, let's see here. Give me please pardon me while the man ignore the man behind the curtain as he clicks through everything. Yeah. So why don't we do this? Let's see. We got about 15 minutes. It's been a real estate heavy show, but I think it's been a lot of fun, and that's what this show is really all about. Why don't we do this? Why don't we move into our diamonds and deals section over here, and then we'll use the time that we got left for everybody else. So everyone, diamonds and deals is where where Dylan and Heidi and Scott have put together properties that they want to talk about, and they're either diamonds or deals or a little bit of both. Aspirational, fun stuff, good deals, amazing deals, and whatever. So why don't we do this? Let's work it in reverse. Let's go with Scott to open up his first. Scott, why don't you go first about our diamond and deals? But before we do that, really quick, Bobby popped in a comment. Bobby Williamson, who's also a member of the Islander Ohana. Welcome back, Bobby. Bobby's on his way, making his plans to come back home to Oahu. Great information as always. Getting ready to work with you, Dylan. Awesome. Reach out to Dylan.
Bobby's awesome, doing lots of research and gonna hit the ground ready to go. So always good to. He's been planning for a while. We've been talking for over a year, I think. So awesome. Great to hear it. All right, why don't we get to our diamonds and deals? Let's see, what do we got here? Let me let the, once again, operator slowness over here. What have we got? This is the park at Ward Village. Scott, what's going on over here?
All right, so I decided to go in a completely different direction than normal, and this is a new inventory. We got new inventory. This is a new tower that's coming out. They just announced sales starting. This is in Ward Village, 60 acre master plan community. It's beautiful location. I got a whole write-up on my website about this. If you go under the new developments tab at my website, you could read about it, submit your request for information. They're selling the owner-occupant units right now. They have studios up to 3 bedrooms. The smallest studio in the tower is roughly about 430 square feet, and the largest 3 bedrooms about 1,550 square feet. But this is going to be a dynamite tower, and it's coming online soon. Completion of construction will be 2025 roughly. So you got Victoria Park, which will be right next door to the left and carries out. Plus you got these amazing view channels out over the marina, out the sunsets and things. So, and it's going to be basically the town center in Ward Village. And it's going to be amazing. I think this is going to be one of their better towers within the community. You can see one of the resort pools, or one of the amenity pools down in the lower right, and the upper right is one of the renderings from what one of the living room units would look like. And this one they designed during the pandemic, so it's basically designed for being at home. And the amenity deck here is going to be almost twice as big as Anaha's, and Anaha's was the biggest in Honolulu to begin with. So that you're going to have just a ton of amenities, pickleball courts, anything you can kind of think of, barbecue cabanas, multiple pools, multiple garden areas up on that amenity deck. So it's a pretty spectacular place. But I wanted to show this because this stuff's not online, not on our MLS. They're coming out. You can contact me and I can get you in on this. But this is new inventory that's coming online, and they just announced it.
That is, I got to tell you, Scott, what is that shot of in the upper right? Is that a deck, or is that a unit with that incredible ocean view? What is that?
That should be one of the 3 bedroom units. One of the
3 bedroom units.
And the prices, studios start in the 500s, 1 bedroom start in the 7s, 2 bedrooms $1 million and up, and 3 bedrooms 1.9 and up. Man,
I tell you, it just, those ocean views that thing is so close to because it's really a good shot of the tower. You see how close it is to the water. It's really, really close to the marina. And where is this? This is on near Ward. Where is this current location? Just so I know.
On the corner of Ward and Aloha. That's going to be its location. So where Sports Authority used to be, that's going to be its location. And the interesting thing, part of why I like this, it's in the center of Ward Village. They're actually going to reduce the size of Aloha down to 2 lanes, make it more pedestrian friendly right in front. And it's weird because normally when you live in a city, it's all concrete jungle. There you have this huge park next to you and in front and all this vegetation. So you're really going to have the blend of greenery, the things that and the amazing ocean views that brings that nature in, but yet you're in the urban core. So it'd be a nice blend that they're putting together.
I mean, this thing is, Okay. I know the location now. It's like it's and you can see in the pictures, it is really close to the water. So a few floors, anybody 10 floors and up is going to have amazing ocean views.
That's where it basically starts, because the parking and amenities decks are going to be below that, right? So
Right.
It's pretty much start on those upper levels.
Wow, no, it's a beautiful property. All right. Grace has a question over here. How well would these towers hold up in a hurricane or tsunami? That's a great question, actually. Scott?
It is. Actually, I looked yesterday. I had a client who's looking at this tower, and we were talking about flood zone info, and I looked at the flood map. It is in AE, which is a flood zone master. The condo master policy carries the flood zone info on that, but these things are built to withstand that. I mean, they're built and designed with the intention that, okay, should this happen, it can resist that kind of thing. Especially, that's part of the reason why you build your parking structures on those lower floors, is so that if inundation comes in, it's going to go through the parking structure and carry through the building.
Right. You got like 4 or 5 floors of parking structure at the very least. So Grace, hope that answers your question. Natasha is chiming in over here. Worth mentioning that what is different from the previous housing market, it rallies, is that we also need to factor in the advent of remote working. Yeah, I mean, remote working is changing everything, right? People who would normally not be able to buy a property in Hawaii can certainly buy one now. And that is, there's a phenomenon called Zoom towns that are going on now. Zoom towns, these are small towns outside of the bigger cities that have good connectivity that people are moving to, but that's a whole other topic. All right, let's see. What do we, let's see, who's next over here? Let's go to, why don't we talk to Heidi? Heidi, you've got this, Hana Highway. I can't believe what I'm seeing here, Heidi. What is this?
So this is a modern beach house. It's actually a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house plus a 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath ohana, 170 feet of direct beachfront. And this is on the North Shore in Paia on Maui. And you can actually see kind of on the upper left-hand corner, that's the town. So you're right on the beach and you're super close to town. You can walk to restaurants, boutiques, shopping, right in the little town there. You also have a 3-car garage, and that beach in front is about 3 miles of sandy beach. So pretty incredible property.
Oh my God, Heidi! That is a diamond if there ever was one. Oh, was it 9? I see 9 point, and for the low price of 9.8 million, this could be yours. That's a dream. That is a dream right there, Heidi. That's a great shot, by the way, of the house with the sun rising or sun setting behind it. That's an amazing shot, amazing photo. All right, who wants the house in Maui, the beachfront house for 9.8 million? Man, count me in. I'm in. Excellent. Thank you, Heidi. All right, let's go on to Dylan. Dylan, what do you got for us here, buddy?
Hey, I just went deal this week just to give everybody an idea of what a normal house under 900,000 is going to cost in Kona. This one has a sweeping ocean view. This is Pualani Estates, great master planned community. Nice sidewalks. It's got a community park. Just your normal living, but move-in ready, 4 bedrooms, so plenty of room if you got a big family. And this is pretty much what it's going to cost you right now to get into something that is move-in ready, that you don't need to do a bunch of repairs to. And so, what wouldn't have been a deal maybe a little while ago, but it's definitely a deal today. And
so why? So what makes it a deal today?
Just because you're under $1 million, you got an ocean view, you got plenty of room, it's move-in ready. Most things, 800,000 and under are going to need a lot of work, or they're not in the nicest area, or they're not going to have an ocean view like this. So if you're looking for those types of things, it's really hard these days to get a nice ocean view under $1 million, regardless of what the property looks like. So
that's
that's year-round sunsets, right? This is west side of the island, so that you can see the horizon there, and this is right outside of the heart of Kailua Kona. But it's nice and quiet neighborhood, great
awesome
for retirees or families. Nice sidewalks, not a lot of through traffic, so awesome spot.
Awesome, great properties, and Grace thanks us. Grace, There we go. Grace thanks us for the comment. You're very welcome, Grace. Excellent, gang. Yeah, this has been great. All right, gang. We're gonna start to wrap it up over everybody. So last chance for your questions. It's at 9:54. I think it's about a good time to kind of roll into our closing thoughts over here. Let me get to that little slide that we've got. I gotta. And we could wrap this up, folks. This has been, first of all, I just want to thank everybody. This takes a lot of work for us to do this. Dylan and Heidi and Scott and myself, a lot of prep, a lot of planning, but it's really a lot of fun. And I really want to tell you all, it's so neat to have everyone get together. We kind of all of us, and we get together on Fridays. We talk story. We talk about Hawaii, our favorite topic. We bring up your questions, and it's really been enjoyable. And I just kind of really want to thank you all for being a part of this. And thank you all for making this such a great experience for Scott and for Dylan and for Heidi. So I just wanted to thank you all for that. And we just got a question that popped in before we roll in. Let's see what's Heather got first. Okay, so Heather says, okay, please excuse my ignorance. Don't worry about it, Heather. But do families live in those buildings, high-rise condo buildings in general? Thinking of me and my daughter. Or is it more for second home rentals, singles, retirees? Is it common for families to live in high-rises? Are there other kids around? I know we can live anywhere, but just wondering about what's common as far as condo living situations. Scott, why don't you take that one? Because there's condos all over Oahu. Scott, give Heather the family answer on condos.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, all of the above, you just covered pretty much all of them, plus the international buyer. But and it's interesting because when I talked to Howard Hughes, which is the developer, and some of the salespeople, pretty much like 85% of the sales that they do in those towers down there are local buyers, and that park at Ward Village actually has like a full-blown kids playground area, dog park, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, that's very common on Oahu. We're limited in lands in general. We have over 1 million people on the island here, so we tend to be in the urban core. It's a much more vertical, high-rise kind of component to it when you're in the urban core, and it's not until you get out closer to the mountains and stuff that you get into single-family home subdivisions and stuff. So it's very common here on Oahu.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. That's a great response. Heather, condos are, Scott, I don't know what the ratio is, but I know we have like a lot more condos than we have homes on Oahu because of that very issue.
Yeah, 65 to 70% of our inventory is condo based, townhouse based. Yeah,
so family life in condos is a part of Honolulu lifestyle. Tom, hey Tom, thank you, buddy. Really appreciate it. And Auntie Joyce, of course, and thank you all. Who loves you? You do. Thank you, Auntie Joyce. We love you too. Yeah, and Heather kind of chimes in over there. Ray's giving us Heather. Okay, great. Thanks for what I thought. And Ray is giving us a hot tip on how to smuggle in briefcases of cash. Watch out for accounting for the money to the TSA, or they will confiscate it. So yeah, Ray, we'll just have to get just basically get like a bunch of diamonds. Loose diamonds works really good. You can kind of stick it in your pocket. No one's going to know a darn thing. just kidding. Just kidding. All right, okay. Why don't we start to wrap this up with our clothing thoughts? I think, yep, we got everybody. Yeah. So thanks you, Auntie Joyce. Lots of hearts, lots of love. It's awesome. And we feel the love. It's fabulous. Bonjour, and aloha to all. Thank you, Gene. For being a part of this. We really appreciate it. Well, we kind of wrap this up with some closing thoughts. Dylan, it's almost a month. I definitely miss my Dylanism. So why don't you get us going here with your closing thought today?
Wake up in anticipation that something great is going to happen today.
Excellent. Wake up in anticipation.
And in relation to real estate, what I've been seeing lately is a big difference. And this is advice for everybody. If you go into anything in life with a negative attitude, like things are going to go wrong, this is not going to work out, that energy will almost manifest that to happen, right? But if you go in with a positive attitude, you go in with a can-do attitude, it seems like just life in general, but definitely real estate transactions work out a lot smoother.
Well, let me chime in on that one, Dylan. And I would challenge anyone to demonstrate empirically how you can maintain a very negative attitude and come out successful. That's a challenge. There's just no way, no way that's going to happen. It doesn't happen in horseshoes. Doesn't happen in baseball. Doesn't happen in life. Heidi, what's your closing thought for today?
So we talked about a lot of data, which is really important. And real estate is a way to build wealth, and it's a financial investment. But also remember, it is an investment in your lifestyle, and you can live in it and enjoy it, spend time there. So totally different than a mutual fund or something that sits in the bank. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at real estate.
Yeah, well said, Heidi, right? It's like, yeah, yes, it is an investment. Yes, we're hoping it's going to appreciate, et cetera, et cetera. But what really matters is it's a home and you're going to live in it. And so you might as well make it worth it. I have a couple of comments who popped in over here. So, Alex, mahalo everyone for great information. Hopefully one day I meet everyone. Alex, we're going to have those Islander Ohana meetups. So have a great weekend to you, buddy. And Kinaya, who's also a Islander Ohana alumni, doing it. I'll have to watch later. Dang it. That's all right. It's all right. We're here. You're here. We're good. And then Ray, mahalo for the info and the kindness. Yeah, Ray, I'm just reflecting out what I'm feeling. That's all I can tell you. Scott, what's your closing thought for today?
Yeah, mine is success is not final. Failure is not fatal. And it's the courage to continue that really counts. And I kind of look at it as every day there's something to be excited about whenever we wake up to kind of tackle for the day.
Yeah, isn't that it? It's like, I'm thinking like, my takeaway on what you folks have all been saying is that, you've only got one life to live, right? And you got to make it count. And with the right kind of positive attitudes and the right kind of excitement. And if you're not excited when you get up in the morning, if you're not excited about what you're about to do, go do something else. Figure something else out that you can get excited about. Because I don't know of anyone, again, this goes back to your negative comments, positive comments and negative comments thing, Dylan. I don't know of anyone who hates their job and is really financially successful. I don't know. I do not think that exists. I do not think that is possible. I don't think it's possible to hate your job and do well. I think it's possible to hate your job and be happy. I don't think that's possible. So one of my friends said, if you're not happy, get happy. So, all right, folks, I think that's it. It was a great show. Thank you all for being here for us. And thank you all for making this a fantastic show. You're the ones that make it great. We wouldn't be doing this if you guys weren't showing up and having fun with us. And thank you, Pam. Pam just threw out a big mahalo. So why don't we go around? Let's go around clockwise. Dylan, Heidi, and Scott. Say goodbye, everybody. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Aloha. Have a great week.
Aloha, everybody.
All right, folks. Have a great one. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll see you in 2 weeks, October 15th. Take care, everyone. See you, Jason.